Welcome back to Mark Fisher Outdoors, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We are going to do something a little bit different today. Believe it or not, the movie Jaws is coming up on 50 years old, and it got me thinking. It's one of my favorite movies, but it got me thinking, what are some other fishing related movies that stand out in my mind, and I'm certainly going to ask you in your mind, over time? So stick around, guys. We're going to rate the top 5 fishing movies over time. Welcome back to Mark Fisher Outdoors, everybody. We appreciate you tuning in as always. And we do try and change things up. It's not always just, hey, rig a bait this way or rig a bait that way. So this one's a little unique. Movies, fishing related movies. So we're going to start off with our 5 best fishing related movies. We're going to go from 5 to our number 1. Coming in at number 5.
They're just like us. They're not middle-aged.
Of course they are.
Middle age means the middle, Ethel, middle of life. People don't live to be 150.
Well, we're at the far edge of middle age, that's all.
We're not, you know. We're not middle-aged. You're old and I'm ancient.
Old poo.
On Golden Pond. This is an old movie again, like Jaws, but I think that it's interesting. And if you look at my top 5 favorite fishing related movies, the number 5 and number 4 kind of fit into this category in that there's fishing in them. These are more relationship type movies, but interesting how fishing kind of gets that relationship aspect going, because in guys like us, we have a relationship with a strong emotional bond to the act of, or the art of, fishing.
Be patient. You're fishing for trout, boy. There's a trout living in this cove. Weighs 10 pounds. It weighs an ounce. First saw him 3 or 4 years ago. Hooked him 2 years ago. And again last year. But he's a crafty old son of a bitch.
So on Golden Pond, where we're chasing Walter, the big trout, and I mean, I remember, going out and fishing and calling the big fish that we caught Walter, from On Golden Pond. So On Golden Pond is my number 5 in terms of top fishing related movies. Another movie that again had to do with relationships, but fishing was the big part of it, was my number 4 movie, which is
Grumpy Old Men.
Why don't you do the world a favor and pull your lip over your head and swallow?
Idiot. Eat my shorts.
again these 2 grumpy old guys, but if you look at it, the fact that they were at odds with each other over everything, including Anne Margaret.
So,
What?
they finally found something. Holy. Oh my God. Moly. Worth fighting for.
But the one thing that they absolutely shared was their bond over fishing. So my number 4 is Grumpy Old Men. Now we start getting into movies that relate to the fact that fishing is our life. And so my number 3 top fishing related movie of all time is A River Runs Through It.
What are you gonna be? First or fly fisherman? There's no such thing. There isn't?
My brother Paul and I grew up in a time when the land was still untouched.
Montana, there are 3 things we're never late for: church, work, and fishing.
To be honest, I would say that this movie is the number 1 movie that expresses that fishing is the central part of the character's life. Everything else that happens comes from their passion for trout fishing in Montana. And so my number 3 fishing related movie is A River Runs Through It. But this movie, as I said, to me, that movie really captures the fact that everything about those characters' lives are centered around their love for fishing. A close second to that, and coming in number 2 in terms of my list for top 5 fishing related movies, is The Perfect Storm.
In the fall of 1991, the Andrea Gale left Gloucester, Massachusetts, and headed for the fishing grounds of the North Atlantic. 2 weeks later, an event took place that had never occurred in recorded history.
Boy, I tell you what, when you talk about a movie that conveys the fact that no matter what, we got to go out and catch the fish, The Perfect Storm with Mark Wahlberg and the Gloucester fishermen catching the fish is my number 2 top fishing related movie. And then we got to get to Jaws, the number 1 fishing related movie, the one that started it all off. The movie that made you afraid to go into the water, the movie that is all about catching the biggest fish and saving the day. Number 1. Now, guys, I realize maybe I missed something. I'd love to hear from you. What are your top fishing related movies? Did any of them make my list? And the question is, should there have been some that I should have added to my list? Go ahead and send those in. We appreciate you tuning in to Mark Fisher Outdoors. Subscribe if you haven't, guys. Hit that subscribe button, the notification button. We've got an Underwater Wednesday episode coming out tomorrow. We hope to see you then. Take care.